Cut one stem from this plant. Drop it in a glass of water. Within 72 hours, it will be producing oxygen, pulling toxins from your air, and generating a measurable bioelectric field around its root zone. Leave it alone for 3 weeks and it will have cloned itself. Leave it for a season and one cutting becomes 10 plants, each doing the same thing, for free, indefinitely. This plant grows on every continent except Antarctica. Ancient Egyptian physicians placed it in recovery rooms 3,500 years ago. NASA ran a sealed chamber study on it for 2 years, and a team at the University of Florence published findings in 2022 that its internal electrical signaling operates at speeds that current plant biology cannot fully explain. None of that is in a textbook. None of it is taught in schools, and the $9 billion indoor plant and air purification industry has very little interest in you learning that the most effective air cleaning, bioelectrically active, self-replicating system available costs $4 at any garden center and never needs a filter replaced. Here is what was documented, what was buried, and what you can do with it starting today. The Egyptian record, the Ebers Papyrus, dated to approximately 1550 BC, is one of the oldest medical documents ever recovered. It describes specific plants prescribed not as food or medicine in the traditional sense, but as room treatments, placed in chambers where sick people slept, burned to change the air, positioned near patients recovering from fever. The reasoning was purely observational. Physicians noticed that patients in rooms with these plants recovered faster. They did not know why. They documented what they saw and kept doing it for centuries. Western medicine filed this under superstition for most of the 20th century. Then, in 1989, NASA ran out of options. The NASA study nobody talks about. Space stations have no windows you can open. Every molecule of air is recycled. Synthetic materials off-gas constantly, releasing formaldehyde, benzene, and trichloroethylene into a sealed environment with no escape route. Astronauts were getting sick. Air filtration systems were helping, but not enough. A NASA scientist named Bill Wolverton proposed putting plants in the room. His colleagues were skeptical. The clean air study ran for 2 years inside sealed biochambers, replicating space station conditions. The results were not subtle. Certain plant species removed up to 87% of airborne toxins within 24 hours. Not reduced, removed. The toxins were pulled through the leaf surface, broken down in the root zone by microorganisms, and converted into nutrients that fed the plant itself. The plant was eating the poison and producing clean air in return, indefinitely, at zero ongoing cost. NASA published the findings. A few newspapers ran short pieces, and then it disappeared from public conversation almost entirely because there was no product to sell, no filter to replace, no subscription model, just a plant in a pot outperforming machinery that costs hundreds of dollars and needs replacing every few months. What the plant is actually doing. Here is the part that changes how you think about every plant you have ever owned. Plants do not just passively sit in a room. They are running an active electrical system. Researchers call the signals action potentials and variation potentials. They are measurable, directional electrical pulses that move through plant tissue from cell to cell, coordinating growth, defense responses, and photosynthesis in real time. In 2022, a team at the University of Warsaw attached fluorescent markers to the cellular channels of a common houseplant, damaged one leaf, and filmed what happened under a microscope. Within 90 seconds, an electrical wave began moving outward from the wound site through the entire plant. It triggered defensive chemistry in leaves that had not been touched. It changed the behavior of root cells at the opposite end of the plant. From the damage, this was not chemical signaling, which moves slowly the way ink spreads through water. This was electrical, fast, coordinated. The plant was running an internal communication network that we only confirmed existed 3 years ago. It had been running it for 400 million years. And here is the property that connects the electrical system to the air quality research. The root zone of an actively growing plant is one of the most electrically and microbially active environments in nature. The microorganisms living there are what break down the toxins that the leaves absorb. The plant and its root microbiome are not separate systems. They are one system, and the electrical signals coordinate the whole thing. The ancient Egyptians did not know any of this. They just knew that rooms with these plants were different. They were right. It took us 3,500 years to build instruments sensitive enough to understand why you were never told. In 1989, the same year NASA published its findings, the global air purifier market was worth roughly $2 billion. Today, it is approaching $20 billion. The business model depends on a problem that never fully gets solved. Filters that need replacing, machines that wear out, a subscription hidden inside a product. A plant that removes 87% of airborne toxins, costs $4, propagates itself for free, and improves year over year as its root microbiome matures, is not a product. It is the end of several products. The NASA study was not suppressed the way the British Electroculture Committee's findings were sealed in government archives in 1936. It was simply never amplified. No industry had a financial reason to promote it, and without promotion, a published study sits quietly in a database while the $20 billion machine keeps running. The plant and how to use it properly. The plant at the center of every significant air purification study conducted on common houseplants is pothos, Epipremnum aureum, sold as devil's ivy, golden pothos, or money plant, nearly indestructible, grows in low light, thrives in water or soil, propagates from a single cutting placed in a glass. It is also among the highest bioelectric output plants measured in portable electrode studies. Its root zone is one of the most microbially active of any common houseplant, and it is the species most consistently cited in plant-to-environment electrical field research. Here is how to use it correctly. For air quality, NASA's data points to 1 medium or large plant per 100 square feet of floor space for meaningful toxin reduction. Prioritize rooms with new furniture, fresh paint, synthetic flooring, or poor ventilation. Bathrooms and kitchens show the fastest measurable improvement because moisture accelerates both plant metabolism and root zone microbial activity. For propagation, cut a stem just below a node, the small brown bump where a leaf meets the stem. Place it in clean water. Roots appear within 1 to 3 weeks. Once roots reach 2 inches, move to soil or leave in water permanently. Pothos grows indefinitely in water with nothing added. For maximum output, keep the leaves clean. Wipe them monthly with a damp cloth. Dust blocks the stomata, the microscopic pores through which the plant exchanges gases and pulls toxins from the air. A dusty plant is a quieter plant in every measurable sense, and feed the root zone. A small amount of worm castings worked into the soil once per season dramatically increases microbial diversity. That microbial community is responsible for breaking down what the leaves absorb. The plant is the collection system. The root microbiome is the processing plant. Both need to be healthy for the system to run at full capacity. What this means: a single cutting, a glass of water, 72 hours to a functioning air purification and bioelectric system that will replicate itself indefinitely at no further cost. The Egyptian physicians who placed these plants in recovery rooms were not practicing ritual, they were practicing observation. The NASA engineers who ran the clean air study were not doing folklore research, they were solving an engineering problem with a biological solution. The science did not disappear. It was published. It is still there. The only thing that changed was who controlled the conversation about what clean air is supposed to cost. Cut a stem, put it in water, watch what it does.